Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this evening's Hooked on Wrestling Sunday Night Extravaganza. It's quiz time, or very shortly will be quiz time. Those of you that are early birds, hi, how are you doing? Give us a shout to say who's in the room. Always nice to see who's here from the start. Hello to all you regulars. Hello to any new people. Don't worry, we'll be explaining rules as we go on. Now, I know what you're all thinking. There is something missing. That's right. No Mr. Benson tonight. I'll give you now as your opportunity to leave. Thank you for staying. So the rest of you, you won't mind the fact that our head honcho is not with us this evening, but I do have our normal referee and administrator with us, who is Mr. Chris Hatch. There is Chris. Hello, Chris.
Good evening, Rob. How are we doing tonight?
Very well, mate. And I can also welcome our co-quizmaster for this evening. It's the Twisted Genius, Dean Ayass. How you doing, Dino?
And ladies and gentlemen, now is your time to leave. I'm doing very well, thanks, Rob. And hello, Chris. It feels very strange calling Chris. He's still Hatch to me. Damn it!
You can call him Hatch. That's not a problem at all. You call him whatever you want. I'm sure he's just happy that you've called.
Indeed. How are you doing though? Good week in the. You're down in the deepest darkest. I can't speak now.
This is a good start, isn't it?
Yeah,
Welcome,
I mean, it's not like I get paid to talk or anything. How's life in deepest, darkest Devon? Was what I was trying to say.
It's hard to say those D's, isn't it? No, it's jolly well, my friend. The football season has started. I've started back with my football stuff.
And you were working for Bristol Rovers, I believe. Rob.
Well, I do work for Bristol Rovers.
And how did they do on Saturday?
Bristol Rovers lost to a team called Ipswich Town, who Dean is a fan of, everybody. But the nice thing is that I work for Bristol Rovers, and I do wish them all the very best. It's a nice club to work for. However, the great thing is when you work for a club that you don't support, what you can say is, I hope that they win, but I don't get too sad when they lose, as opposed to Plymouth Argyle, who all I do is fret about, and then I'm devastated when they lose. And when they win, I go, yeah, but we'll probably lose next week. And then you get into that horrible thing that fans do. Anyway, this is not a football show, lads.
No.
This is a wrestling show. And we're very, very happy to be with you all. There's some comments coming through. We've got Will Kitchen is here, Adam Pearson is here, Dale William Hazeldean is the first time. Hello. Oh, he's off. He's had enough. He's walked off like one of the Bee Gees.
That was it.
Oh well, that was nice, wasn't it? Let's say some horrible things about him before he comes back. Oh no.
Sorry, I'm back. I just realised I'd left my oven light on. I'm here in my kitchen, and it really would bug me. The whole quiz that light would be on. I'm like, I've got to turn that off.
Let me just update Paul on how it's going so far. Dean can't say deepest darkest Devon, and he's left his oven light on. We've been going 3 minutes and 34 seconds. I was doing some hellos. Hello to Dale, who's a first timer. Thank you for joining us, mate. Be interested to know where you've seen us from. What have you been recommended to us this evening? Don't worry, we'll explain all rules and how we go in due course. Who else is here? Matt's here. Patrick's here. There's two Matts actually. Matt Thorpe is here as well. Please give us a chance this week, is what Adam has said to Patrick, who is a regular winner. Let's see how Patrick gets on with a slightly different topic tonight. We are going a little bit WCW, not completely, but we will be doing some WCW related stuff tonight. Two reasons why. One, we're concluding Nitro week on Hooked on Wrestling. Hope you've all enjoyed Nitro week on the site. So much different stuff, so much in the way of interviews, innovative features, lots of podcasts. Dean and his team at Because WCW have gone into overdrive a little bit over the last couple of weeks, including having me on for a 74-hour-long podcast, or at least that's what it felt like to the listeners.
It was the only podcast we have done where the podcast was longer than the pay-per-view itself. But it was well worth it. It was
fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Who else is there in the room tonight? Adam's here. Darren is here. Darren also says he's a first timer, so that's good. Always good to see new, fresh names coming through. What we'll do is in just a second, when we hit exactly 8 o'clock, in fact, it is 8 o'clock, isn't it? So we'll get started for real. So what we need to do, folks, is talk you through how this quiz works. We'll be starting at 5 past. So this time is now our sort of a registration time, to be used since we're all back to school now. So what we need to do in this next 5 minutes, everyone needs to send a message if you're going to play the quiz tonight to Hooked on Wrestling's Facebook page, a direct message to the Hooked on Wrestling Facebook page, because that is where you send the answers. The most crucial thing for any first timer and anyone with a memory span of less than 6 days needs to recognize that you send your answers in by sending them to the Hooked on Wrestling Facebook page via direct message. Please don't put them in the room. Don't put them in the chat, because other people can see it. You might not get it right, but it does prejudice other people's views. So it's always nicer if you can send it directly. Here's how we score. You send things in, you score a point for everyone that you get right. Chris, who you can see in the top right of the screen at the moment, is our adjudicator. He'll be monitoring that system. So as you send a little hello in before we start, he'll give you a little thumbs up back to make sure he is receiving your answers. And once we get going, he'll just be keeping an eye on them. You're expected to keep your own score, but there are bonus points for the people that score the quickest. So for every question, we'll take in everyone that gets it right, but the 3 quickest will get a bonus point. And after every 5 questions, there's 20 in all. After every 5 questions, Chris will tell you your bonus tally. We'll keep on top of that as we go along to explain the scoring. Now, in terms of the actual questions being asked, it's 20 questions. It's split into 4 groups of 5. Dean will start us off. He's our guest this evening, so he will start us off. Like the visiting team always tees off first in the Ryder Cup. He's the visiting quizmaster, so he and also the heel goes first, don't they, when they're getting introduced to the crowd. So he goes first to do his 5. Then I'll do 5. And then the same again. I will be giving answers to Dean's 5 questions as we go, after I've given everyone time to respond. But my answers are not necessarily the correct ones. I don't know his questions. He doesn't know mine. So it's just our fun way of playing along. All the way along, we'll tell some little stories and have some opinions and all sorts. This normally lasts around about an hour and 20, hour and 30 minutes, folks, even though it's only 20 questions. We do take our time. We do indulge ourselves a wee bit, but that's what we're for. We're supposed to be here to try and be entertaining a wee bit. There's no prizes for winning the quiz. Please keep your score. It's always interesting to see who's won. But there's no prizes for actually winning. However, there is a prize for participation. So if for everybody that answers every question, doesn't even matter what you answer. Shall I do it? Shall I do the obligatory mention? Even if you put Adam Bomb as your answer for all 20 questions, maybe he is the answer to one of them, who knows? But even if you put that as your answer to all of them, we'd rather you played in the spirit, really. But as long as you answer all 20, we'll put you in a random draw at the end of the night, and you will be winning a t-shirt. So someone that participates in the quiz tonight will win a t-shirt with thanks to our partners at www.euroshop.com. We will reveal the exact t-shirt and who's on it, who it's based on, a little bit later on in the quiz.
Can Dean. I just say, one of the comments here, I have got to say, Matt Barber, because WCW is my new favourite podcast, come on.
Well, there'll be a reason for that. Sorry, Chris?
I said flattery doesn't win you the T-shirt.
I know exactly why because WCW is his favourite podcast. I know the point at which he changed his opinion. And it came after I was on the show. He's never said that after a Paul Benson appearance, all 17 of them. But as soon as I was on, there we go, straight away. That's a good response there, isn't it? So,
yeah. Well, we did 2 special episodes for Nitro. We did an interview with Sonny Ono, which went down really well. And then a couple of days ago, we just did looking at the legacy of Monday Nitro with Finn Martin, the old editor of Power Slam, which was fantastic discussion. Normally what we do is me and Liam do a watch along of an episode of Nitro in chronological order, or we review a pay-per-view of our guest's choice, and we put that out. So you can get it on the Hooked on Wrestling website, or you can also go to becausewcw.podbean.com. There's 71 episodes to get through, so plenty of back catalogue.
Indeed. I don't remember asking him to plug, Chris. Did I tell him to do that? Or has he just gone into business for himself right at the top?
That's all right. We can get used to it.
Yeah, okay. I'm not sure I like this. I like being the antagonistic one and annoying Benson through the night. I don't like how these tables have turned, that someone else has wandered in to try and usurp my authority. But okay.
You haven't even seen me have a sip of my tea yet, and that's a lot more exciting than it sounds. And you'll realise why.
Well,
have we got everyone here?
We're about 5 past. We're about ready to start. But you can sip tea first because I want to. Well, look at that!
What's that?
Oh,
Is that
very
official
good.
merchandise? You sip some tea, Chris. Chris, sip some tea.
Yeah, I can do that. I can put.
Yes, there you go. How much?
That is an official WCW mug from the mid-90s that has obviously lasted a lot longer than WCW itself.
There we go. And on that note, we will get started with the quiz. We'll say temporary goodbye to Chris because when he gets his admin on, he gets a bit sweary and nasty, says horrible libelous things, and so we can't have him doing that on air. So just imagine me having a problem with someone saying libelous things and it not being Dean. But there we go. So Chris will say cheerio for you just for a moment, bring you back for answers and bonuses. Off he goes, and let's make you and me bigger on the screen. There we go. Big fat faces of ours in the middle of the screen.
Quite literally in my case.
Anyone else missing Paul, says Adam. Paul who? Says Matt. And then Sarah says something that I assume she's drunk or something because she says Paul is great. And I assume she doesn't know which one's Paul. She thinks that's me. Anyway, okay, you're going to start us off, Dean. So
yes.
Are you nervous?
Terribly so, yes.
Good, excellent. Not as nervous as the rest of us. But you're going to kick us off, I believe.
Yeah, my 5 questions have been approved and all non-libelous. So don't worry. Okay, right. We'll start with so I've themed my 2 rounds. My 2 rounds, and my first round is loosely what I've called companions.
Oh God! So, I don't like the start of this.
You'll see what I mean as we go on. So,
like Camilla Parker Bowles.
Sort of. So question 1 is, which veteran wrestler played the role of Lord Steven Regal's valet, Sir William? Which veteran wrestler played the role of Lord Steven Regal's valet, Sir William? And I'll give you a clue, it wasn't Camilla Parker Bowles.
Funny how I went aristocracy straight away, though, and you went in with the Blue Bloods. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Right, so, folks, please don't answer that in the chat, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on Facebook. Please don't put that in the chat. Please send your answers via direct message to the Hooked on Wrestling Facebook page. And then if you're worried that it's not getting through, don't worry. Chris, who is manning that, will give you a nice little thumbs up or say thank you or say something despicable to you. But you will get a response.
Rob. We've lost it.
Well, did I go? Oh, am I here? Hello?
Oh, yep, you're there. We can hear you again. You see,
well,
it's the internet signal in deepest, darkest Devon that I said correctly.
Well, we have this every week, and we're never quite sure whether it's I'm losing you or you're losing me. But we'll plow on regardless. Anyway, I don't know where you all lost me, but answers into the Hooked on Wrestling Facebook page to remember that, please. So I'm padding this to give everyone a chance to answer, but I think I do know this. I'm not sure I'd have known what his title was. What did you say his title was?
Sir William.
That's right. Yes, because there was a Jeeves.
We
as
will
well,
reveal
Darren
Moonday. We will reveal the answers. Sorry,
there was a Jeeves as well, was there not?
There was a Jeeves much later, and that was just that was a wrestler. That was actually he was also the same person that was inside their mascot, which I won't give the name away just in case it's one of your questions.
Good shout. Yeah. So just to clarify for Darren, what we're going to do is I'm going to give my answer in just a second, but that is not necessarily the correct answer. Although I do think I know this one. So what we basically would like for everyone is to send their answer in before I say mine, so you're not just waiting on whatever I say. However, I'm not great on WCW. I wouldn't expect me to get more than about 3 or 4 this week. So don't wait for me. That is probably the best rule. Okay, I would say I think it's Bill Dundee. Superstar Bill Dundee, I should say. But I think it's
okay.
I think it's Bill Dundee. That's my answer. So Dean is not going to tell me if I'm right or not. He's just going to go straight on to question number 2. This is just how we're so you can see that I'm playing along. Answers after the first 5. So on you go, Dean. Question 2.
I see. Okay, question number 2. What colour were Ernest the Cat Miller's dancing shoes? What colour were Ernest the Cat Miller's dancing shoes? You see, Sonny Ono was talking about that. So if you'd listened to the interview with Sonny Ono, you might have picked up a clue about that. Ernest the Cat Miller, one of my greatest guilty pleasures in wrestling.
I don't like the term guilty pleasure. I think wrestling in and of itself is a little bit of a guilty pleasure. So once you are watching it, I think you can. I'm going to use an American expression, which is rare of me, but you can check guilty at the door when you're watching wrestling. Everything you watch, if you like it, you like it. It's absolutely fine. Am I allowed to answer this on my own, or am I allowed to call my mama and see what she says?
Yeah, see what you did there.
Yeah, indeed. You see, it's
what
all you Brodus Clay fans forgetting that the cat had it first at least in WWE he did. I don't know the answer to this.
Yeah,
I don't know the answer to this. But I'm gonna have a
Guess
stab,
a colour.
and I'm basically gonna go in terms of its TV stuff, Hollywood, glamour, glitzy stuff. You have red shoes. Dorothy in Wizard of Oz, Ernest the Cat Miller, red shoes.
Okay. So that's your answer, red. Okay.
That's what I'm going
we
for.
will see.
Who knows if I'm
we
right.
will see how you do in a bit. Right. So question number 3: what name did Booker T's wife Sharmell use when she was a valet in WCW? What name did Booker T's wife Sharmell use when she was a valet in WCW? Because you see, she was a Nitro girl originally, and then she became a valet. Should I say who she was a valet for? No, I'll leave.
It's up to you. You're the question master. You can reveal however many clues you wish. I mean, this is one of those where I know all the details. I knew she was with him in WCW. I think that's where they met. I knew she was a Nitro girl. I know all of that, but her name isn't coming. Actually, I do have a name in my mind, but I'm fairly certain that's a different valet. And I'm going to have to say that if I can't think of anything else.
Okay, I'm trying to remember now. Actually, if they worked together as manager and wrestler in WCW, I'm not sure if they did actually.
I don't think they did. I don't think they did.
But what are you going to go for then, Rob? Well, we need to give people a bit more time.
I am going to go for. No, see, I think it's wrong. I'm gonna just in case I'm double bluffing myself, because I could be wrong about being wrong.
Right.
If you catch my drift. So
yeah.
I'm gonna say Middager.
Okay.
Which I think is wrong, because I think that's the wrong person, and I'm a little bit worried about what I've just done. But we're going to crack on nonetheless and not draw attention to it. Question 4. Okay,
now question 4, Rob. I felt I had to do this because there were certain expectations of me coming onto a WCW themed quiz on Hooked on Wrestling. And so the next question is about Terry Funk. Because people may not know this, Rob, but I once managed Terry Funk, but I don't like to talk about it. All right.
You did? Really?
Yeah, but it's a little known fact. I don't like talking about it. My question is, what unusual item did Terry Funk bring to the ring with him to use as a weapon against Dustin Rhodes at WCW Uncensored 2000? What unusual item did Terry Funk bring to the ring with him to use as a weapon against Dustin Rhodes at WCW Uncensored 2000?
Now, something we don't usually do here on the Hooked on Wrestling Sunday Night Quiz is reveal wrong answers that people have said. And in my quizzes, I do lots of pub quizzes, and I tend to not give wrong answers unless they're very funny. This feels like you either know this or you don't. So I suspect of all the people that are sending answers in, X amount will get it correct, and the other ones will just be this litany of various weird things. I feel like I might ask Chris to read out some of the things that people guessed. Only if they're funny, though, Chris. Don't do it if it's boring. And don't name the people that it is. Unusual item is the wording of that, because I can think of one item that I associate with Terry Funk bringing to the ring. but I suspect you wouldn't describe that as unusual if it was the thing that he was known for. Oh, crikey.
If you listen to episode number 55 of Because WCW, where we covered this, you will know the answer.
Do you know what? A very genuine reason why I've not listened to as many of your podcasts as I wish I had is because
you hate me.
No.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
It's because
Most people do.
I would enjoy it more, actually, I think, doing it that way. But I as I talked to you about on the show, I've been watching WCW pay-per-views from the start and then gradually watching Nitros in order. And essentially, I actually don't know a great deal about WCW. I certainly don't know a great deal about some of the storylines. And so when I'm watching it, some things are surprising me. Or if I did see them at the time, it's been 20 odd years since I've seen them. I don't have your concussion rate, but I do have not a great memory for certain things. So I'm watching it fresh. However, if I listen to your podcast all the time, then it'll be I'll get spoiled a little bit, won't I? That's my covering for why I've not listened to the episode that he's just talked about. I have listened to some, I will point out. I don't have an answer, and I think it could be anything in the entire world. I'm not going to guess if I don't know, so I'll go what I often do in these quizzes, which is go the percentage route. I'll say a branding iron, which I know Terry Funk has carried before.
Exactly. I understand why you'd say that, yeah.
I don't think that will be the answer, because I think that won't be considered unusual, but there we go.
Yes. And Adam and Sarah are both dying a slow death here. So this round's nearly over. We got 3 more rounds to go. You'll be fine. Finally, number 5. How many officially recognized NWA and WCW world title reigns did Harley Race and Big Van Vader have between them? How many officially recognized NWA and WCW world title reigns did Harley Race and Big Van Vader have between them? And when I say officially recognized, I am talking about ones that are still recognized on the WWE website, and the sort of, that is essentially my reference point here, because there have been the odd one or two here and there where they've traded about overseas and it's not been officially recognized. So
didn't Flair do that in Japan?
Yeah, Flair did that in Japan
Fujinami?
with
Fujinami.
That was difference with the NWA and the WCW title. Flair also did it in the Dominican Republic with a local guy called Jack Veneno, who they basically, legend has it, Flair called the result in the ring based on the fact that he recognized that if he didn't put the guy over, there would be a riot. Yeah. So yes, the guy won, became allegedly the world champion for a few days, and then they had another match outside of the Dominican Republic but nearby, and Flair won it back to go home.
Yeah, smart call on the part of the Nature Boy there. I'm trying to see what I end up doing, and Paul does this as well. Both of us do it to one another, and sometimes we outthink ourselves, which is trying to work out if there's some other little sort of hidden reason. Why would you ask that? Is it a little bit, tricksy or anything like that? Could I just confirm that when you say Harley Race and Vader, you mean Harley Race as a wrestler, Vader as a wrestler, and their combined total? Because
how many
Harley was Vader's manager. You don't mean how many times did Vader win it with Harley as his manager?
No. I mean, how many times did Harley Race win the title? How many times did Vader win the title? So, for example, if you think that they won it once each, your answer would be 2. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I got it. I was just double checking because I thought there might have been a possibility that people might have thought that you meant them as a unit, because obviously Harley was the manager for a time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they would have been. I want to say. I would have think Harley would have been a little bit more than Vader. I won't show my working necessarily, but I'll give the number 6.
Okay.
I'll go for 6. And when we go through the answers, I might do a little bit more in terms of my workings out. Is that 5? Have we done 5?
That is 5. Patrick Heafield, never underestimate the jammy bits of miscellaneous crap you remember. My life has basically been pieced around that.
To be fair, this show could be called Miscellaneous Crap Live.
Yeah.
That is actually quite a good... if next week I start referring to it as MCL, it's not my... medial cruciate ligament, I will mean my miscellaneous crap live, and we'll see if Showbiz Paul Benson or SPB picks up on that. But let's bring Chris back. Hopefully he's ready. Is he? He's shaking his head.
He's not ready. Oh, we can hold fire for it. I was going to say that.
I'm ready, except that you haven't actually given the answers to the questions yet.
No, we haven't. See, it falls apart without Paul, doesn't it?
It falls apart. It really does.
It falls apart without Paul. Right. Okay.
Right. In that case,
thank you, mate. We will do it properly. Right.
Okay,
let's go through
I'll give the answer.
Damn, I wanted to do this perfectly. I wanted to do it perfectly when he wasn't here, and I could go no problems whatsoever, and I've buggered up already. Damn it.
In round one. God.
Go on, Dean. Right. We now go through the questions. It's not like I've not done this for the last 17 weeks or whatever it's been. We now go through the questions, and we'll give the actual answers for real this time. So on you go, Dean.
Right. Okay. So the veteran wrestler who played the role of Lord Stephen Regal's valet, Sir William, you said, Rob?
I think it's Bill Dundee.
It is Bill Dundee, yes.
On the board.
And Regal did say that they did try to explain to WCW Creative why a valet or a butler would not be knighted, but it fell on deaf ears, basically.
That's true. I never thought about that.
Yeah. Question 2. Ernest the Cat Miller's dancing shoes. Rob, you were right. They were indeed red.
They had to be, didn't they? They had to be.
Booker T's wife, Charmel, in WCW, she managed mostly the artist, who was
Prince Iakea.
the artist formerly known as Prince Iakea, yes, who had a not particularly good Prince rip-off gimmick, and therefore she was called Paisley, as in Paisley.
Paisley!
Midaja was a completely different person who was with Scott Steiner.
Yes. I know. I knew that. I knew Midaja was with Scott Steiner. I just thought possibly that it was her. I felt I was wrong. Paisley, of course, good shout.
Yeah, this was in the Vince Russo era where virtually everyone had a female valet because that's what people watched wrestling for in Vince Russo's eyes.
My favourite thing about well, this is a bit harsh, but my favourite little one-liner I managed to do about Prince was that he passed away as in the same week as let's call him a diminutive half of a very famous British comic duo, and I suggested that Prince died in the same week as Little Ron Corbett. It was which I thought was one of his songs, but didn't get much, that one.
I thought when you said a comedy duo, I thought you were going to talk about Little and Large.
Could have done, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Although they were more of a duo than they were comedy.
True, and although, and this is going to show about when I was saying about the miscellaneous crap, I forget useful things because I have so much miscellaneous useless crap in my head, like trousers, how to drive, that sort of thing. And the greatest in my eyes, anyway, the greatest named autobiography was that of Sid Little's, which he called Little by Little. I thought it was genius.
I mean, that's very good. That is very, very good indeed. Also, my favourite Oasis song.
Yes, right. So Terry Funk.
I don't want to say that we're boring everybody, but the chat room has started talking about the Herb Garden, the old TV program. Parsley the Lion and
Parsley Paisley,
a dog called Dill and all that kind of stuff. But we won't do that one. And now it's resorted to herb puns. So let's talk about Terry Funk and try and distract them.
Yes, so the unusual item Terry Funk brought to the ring with him to use as a weapon against Dustin Rhodes was a whole raw chicken, which he then hit him with because listeria. So yeah, if anyone anything with the word chicken in it, Chris, I'd say give him a point.
Surely it wasn't a raw chicken. Surely it was a Nitro chicken.
Oh, very, very good. Very good. And finally, the number of officially recognized NWA and WCW world title reigns between Harley Race and Big Van Vader. Harley Race had 7.
Oh, because not 6
Vader,
then.
No, because Ric Flair then caught him up and then beat him. Race had 7. Vader had 3. So the answer you're looking for is 10.
Crikey! I had loosely in my head had Harley 4, Vader 2. So I was way off, way off. Okay. Well, Adam has already given us what he said. Adam Ferranda said that he said not a cactus. So I think he obviously went cactus for the object. I am intrigued to find out what some other people said. Let us now, at the right time, bring Chris into the equation. Hello, mate.
Hello.
Thank you for putting me right before.
Not a problem at all. I will say that chicken and cactus were probably the best obscure answers we had there, and one was correct. So we'll go with that.
Excellent.
Okay, that's fine. So what were the? So what we need to do first, before Chris does his bonuses, so you need to tally up how many you've got. For example, Matt Thorpe, Darren Moonday have told us that they've got 4 out of 5 so far. That's excellent scoring, by the way. So if they've got 4 out of 5, so for example, if they were to get 3 on as their bonus tally, they would be up to 7. So what Chris is going to say is not how many you have scored out of 5. He's going to say how many bonuses. So at home or in the pub, wherever you are on the train, add up how many you've got from what we've given as the answers, and then add it to what Chris is about to say. If he doesn't say your name, you didn't get any bonuses. On you go, Chris.
Okay, so bonus points, we've got Will Kitchen 4, Chris Marden 3, Patrick Heafield 3, Darren Moonday 2, and Matt Thorpe 1. So that's Will Kitchen 4, Chris Marden 3, Patrick Heafield 3, Darren Moonday 2, and Matt Thorpe 1.
There you go. Okay, so for example, you said Darren got 2 there, didn't you?
Yes.
Right, so I'll use Darren as an example, partly because he's new, partly because I remembered his score. So Darren scored 4 points because he told us that in the chat, and Chris said he scored 2 bonuses. So his current rolling tally is 6. So it's 4 plus 2 for him. So it's your score plus your bonuses. If you didn't hear your bonuses shouted out, it's because you didn't get any, I'm afraid. So a little bit quicker on the draw for everybody if you didn't score bonuses in that last round. Apart from me getting my timings wrong, how's it all going, Chris? Are you happy with everything? You're sort of acting as my backup producer today. Is everything all right? Are we on the money?
Yeah, I don't think Paul's going to have too much to complain about. You guys will get away for a week.
Not worth him coming back, is it?
No.
We can leave him off, can't we?
We don't need his Greg Davis jokes, really, do we? So
not really. I suppose he's probably filming the new Taskmaster anyway, so we can give him a few weeks off.
Yeah, I know, and he didn't ask me to be little Alex Horn either, which is very disappointing.
No, that is very disappointing. Okay, thank you, Chris.
Sorry, Paul Benson's filming the new Taskmaster. What? This is news to me.
Chris and I, we seem to be the only people in the world, but we're of the opinion, not necessarily that he looks like Greg Davis, but he could well be like the nephew of Greg Davis. If you said to people, Paul's uncle is Greg Davis, I think you'd look at him and go, oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I see what you mean. No, I just heard that he was on holiday in a cottage, so I was just going to say Paul Benson's not here because he's off cottaging, but that's another story.
He's not a Fulham fan. That's a horrible thing to say about anybody. Just to cover that off. And should we? Have you got any famous TV lookalikes, Dean? Oh no, wait, we've got to go in about 4 hours' time. Haven't we? Go through all of the people that you look like, whether they are hairy bikers or little biscuit men. So I, of course, have gone from looking like Tony Schiavone. Basically, now I am a fat AJ Styles. So we do all have our own. Has anyone ever told you look like it? I can't think of anyone that you look like, Chris. Has anyone ever told you you look like anyone? No. You are the first Chris Hatch.
Exactly, the best. Cool. Right. Anyway, shall I let you go on with another 5 questions? See if you can get through that far.
Good decision, mate. Right. Let's move Chris away. And we got. Someone just asked how tall Paul was. I think is Paul as tall as Greg? No, Paul's about. Well, I don't know how tall Paul. Paul's about 6'1". I think he's quite tall. He's not a monster.
Yeah.
Greg
Davis is huge. He's about 6'7", I think.
Yeah, he's a big lad. Right. Okay. Let's time for my first round of 5 then.
Okay.
And so I'm going to come out and say it. Mine are not WCW questions. I knew that Dean was going to do all WCW, so I thought we didn't want to necessarily pack it with 20. Although there may, and it is the subtlest of little subtle references, may be a WCW reference if you take my 10 questions in their totality. But that's all I'll say. If you are new,
you've probably got some relieved people in the comments now. The ones that have scored 0 or 1 will be like, "Thank goodness for that."
Well, I thought that it's nice to have a theme, but even on Undertaker week, we didn't do all questions about Undertaker. We did drop a few other things in. So I think it's not really fair to just pack in 20 questions on Nitro. So knowing that you were doing 10, I have stayed away. But like I said, there is a little subtle reference. And as people that are used to this quiz know, I sometimes have something that might theme through my 5 questions each time. You might pick up on it, you might not. Depends how early in the round you start getting questions right. Okay, we'll start with number 6. Hooray, I remembered to get the number right. So this is question 6. What I forgot to say earlier on, I assume it's going okay because Chris hasn't said anything about it. But we do ask if you can put your question number at the start of the answer. I should have said that earlier. So if you can answer this with 6, then your answer, rather than just sending the answer. It does make it easier for Chris. But it's obviously going okay because he did mention it. So question number 6. Who won the 1989 Royal Rumble? Who won the 1989 Royal Rumble? And people in the chat, I assume, are going to be absolutely shocked that I just asked the question. I didn't do lots of preamble. I didn't say, if you consider this. I didn't take 29 words doing it. I just said, who won the 1989 Royal Rumble? The only thing people are now thinking is, does he mean 1990? Because I have got the year wrong on occasions. But this time, I have definitely got it right. Well, who won the 1989 Royal Rumble? Now we get Dean's thinking face now. So we've had his question master grin, smirk even so far. Now we've got his thinking face, and it involves a lot of chin work from what I can see so far. A lot of that going on. Someone put the question in the answer in the.
Yeah, it's been deleted off, and he has apologized.
Chris is on the ball. Well done, Chris.
Hatch, the comments policeman. He's
excellent. So that's okay. No worries to Daniel. That's okay, mate. Things happen. So yeah, from now on, if you could send your answers to the Hooked on Wrestling Facebook page via a direct message, that would be ace. Right, you've had long enough cogitating. Yeah. What's the answer?
Because it was before you didn't get a title shot at this point in time. I know that I think Jim Duggan won the 88 one, and it seems too obvious to me. But I think I'm going to go Hulk Hogan. I'm sure he won like 2 in a row, but I don't know if that was 89 and 90 or 90 and 91. But I am going to go Hulk Hogan.
It's not a bad if in doubt answer, is it? There's a little bit of that sometimes. If in doubt, say John Cena, or if in doubt, say Hulk Hogan. That's I wouldn't blame you for going down that
John Cena.
No, it probably wasn't John Cena. No. But spoiler alert. This is the point, folks. Now, Dean has to answer questions now. For those of you that are only familiar with Dean for his excellent podcast and his appearances on Hooked on Wrestling, he has actually been a staple of the British wrestling scene for 20 years or so, mate?
More than that, 20 years. 1993 I started. So
27 years, crikey. You've outstayed your welcome several times over. But Dean is a manager. An occasional wrestler, but a manager, very much
commentator,
so. And commentator, known as the Twisted Genius, Dean Ayass. At this point during the quiz, we're about to find out why Twisted is correct, and the second part we'll see. Question number 7. Although I've always thought you should be called Gene Ayass. You should be Gene rather than Dean, because Genius Gene Ayass would be a much better name. But there you go. Where was I in 1993 when you were coming up with your gimmick name, which is your own name?
Blame my parents.
Number 7. We're not going back to 1993. We're not going back to 1989's Royal Rumble. We're not going back to the Nitro era. We're going back to yesterday. In fact, we're going back to today in British terms. Who beat Britt Baker at AEW All Out this weekend? Sorry, that's a spoiler there. I should have said who wrestled, but I've said it now. Who wrestled Britt Baker at AEW's pay-per-view this weekend? That is question number 7. Oh, look, Matt's found a little, I won't call it a cheat, but Matt Barber said he switched to YouTube view, which is 10 seconds ahead. Bring on the bonus points, he says. So that's fine. We don't mind where you view us, folks, as long as you view. So if you want to rack up our YouTube views as well as our Facebook ones, why not have a couple of windows open, and then we get all the more revenue, or at least viewing points. I don't quite know how the revenue works. Not my world. Before you answer, because I suspect you know the answer to this one, there's a couple of references to you in the chat. Will Kitchen says he remembers you from TalkSport on Saturday nights.
Yeah, that was a fun time. That was great. TalkSport on Saturdays, going to where was it now? It's Blackfriars. The studios were, and we would invariably go and have a Chinese after the meal, after the show. This Chinese place that was around down the corner with what I always thought was the only Oriental man to ever have an afro until I met Mohammed Yone from Pro Wrestling Noah, who also had a massive afro. But yeah, good times.
Fantastic stuff. Although the one time I visited Talk Sport Towers, as you're obligatory have to call it on the station. There's a Nando's nearby, so I wouldn't have gone to a Chinese because clearly I would have gone to the Nando's. This is probably pre-Nando's.
Yes, but Nando's, of course, Rob, you and I both, well, you're gluten-free, I'm wheat intolerant, and well, I'm generally intolerant, but wheat especially.
Intolerable.
Yes, and Nando's is the godsend to the wheat spaz, basically.
Actually, I should say, just to gloss over what you just said, but I will say that I drink Thatcher's Gold. How cider is supposed to taste here on the podcast and on the live show, I should say. And we did actually have someone in the chat one day who worked for Thatcher's, although my free case still hasn't arrived. Since I mentioned, he was called Rob as well. Since I mentioned Thatcher's and there was someone called who worked for Thatcher's, I thought maybe if I mention Nando's, that someone will come along who works for Nando's and give me free stuff. And I'm forgetting that used to happen several years ago. There was a pal of mine that used to come to our live Q&A shows who was manager of a local Nando's in Greater Manchester.
Excellent.
Which meant I didn't pay for Nando's very often when I was up there. He's a great lad. Nice. Anyway, let's do the answer to that one then. So who did Britt Baker wrestle last night?
I am very confident in this because I watched this this morning. It's Big Swole.
Okay, that's Dean's answer to number 7. Let's do number 8. Who has been a tag team champion with The Undertaker, Kane, The Miz, and Chris Jericho? Who has been a tag team champion with Undertaker, Kane, The Miz, and Chris Jericho? That is number 8.
And if you ever come down this way, Rob, we have a tremendous local cider which has several different variations, which has the great pun name of Sea Cider.
Oh, that's very good.
Yes. If you ever go to a Riptide wrestling show, and they're very good, they often have Sea Cider available. Yeah.
Because obviously I'm from the southwest, so we know nothing about cider where we are.
Obviously nothing, no.
No. I don't know. I've not really ever been to your part of the world. Although I'm still convinced that the only reason you live in that particular part of the south coast is that you thought that it was too good of a pun being in Sussex and near Kent. There was just too many bits of wordplay going on for you there. But I don't want to give away your address for people.
well, my name is Dean, and when I was growing up, I lived in a little town near Brighton called Saltdean. So that was always fun times. Dean from Saltdean.
I rather like that. You just reminded everyone what your name was, so I'll just put that up there just so you.
There we go.
Just so everyone knows. I will just leave your name up for another 10 seconds while you give us the answer.
So, someone who held the tag titles with Undertaker, Kane,
Miz, and Jericho.
So it's got to be someone who's been around for a long time.
Fair.
I have, without any confidence whatsoever, I'm going to take an educated guess at Edge.
Okay, an educated guess. Very good. See, I told you he was good at puns, and he didn't even know he did that one. Right, so let's do. What are we up to? That was question 8, wasn't it? So let's do number 9. Who wrestled a tag team match at WrestleMania 6? And then beat that partner at WrestleMania 7. So that is to say, a man wrestled a tag team match alongside a partner at WrestleMania 6, and then the following year at WrestleMania 7, he wrestled the person who had been his partner the year before and beat them.
Oh, man.
Not bad, is it? Good little question, that one.
No, see, this is my era. This is when I should remember. I mean, this sort of time I was a teenager where I didn't have any other responsibilities, and alcohol and concussions hadn't addled my brain, so I should know this.
Yes,
God.
I knew the concussions would be excuses as the night went on.
Oh yeah, I'm. Oh god, I don't know. You might as well have Matt Hardy in here at the moment, but
Excellent. Although we wouldn't stop the quiz. We just we find a way of finishing the quiz, but not safely.
Yes, and like Matt Hardy, I'm not scared of tomatoes.
Okay.
These are from my greenhouse.
What would you do with a tornado?
Surf it.
Oh, okay. Not slap. Is it not slap?
Slap it. Slap a tornado. So I
See, like question 10. What do you do with a tornado? So you wouldn't know that.
There you go. So someone who was in a tag match at WrestleMania 6 and then wrestled their partner at WrestleMania 7.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's the
God.
question.
So WrestleMania 6.
How's everyone else getting on, by the way? Is there Chris, by nature of a little because by the way, folks, I can see Chris on the dashboard here. By a little hand signal or a head signal, how are people cottoning on to a little theme or not? No, a shake of the head. People not necessarily, because I would say if you've worked out a little theme here, then this might help you very well. In fact, I think it would help you very much.
Was there a theme?
Oh, no, have I done it wrong again? Darren has just said, do I not mean WrestleMania 5 and 6? Have I got the WrestleManias wrong? I am an idiot. I am an absolute idiot. I might have got the WrestleManias wrong. Hang on a second.
Oh.
Let me just have a little look here. I think basically what it is, mate, I think I don't know my numerals. Oh, God, I annoy myself greatly.
Is it WrestleMania 5 and 6?
I've got it wrong. I'm a tit.
Darren, do you want to come and host next week? We'll get rid of this guy. So they tagged. Okay, so they tagged at 5 and wrestled each other at 6.
It is 5 and 6. I'm so sorry, everybody. That is so annoying.
Well, if you want to send a new answer in, folks, then just send a new answer in to Chris.
You can. Yeah, absolutely. You can send in a new one there. If you've already answered, you can send in a new one. We might have to. We might have to knock bonuses on the head for that one. Chris will adjudicate. I'm sorry, everyone. That's the second time I've done that in about 4 weeks. I hate myself and want to crawl into a hole. Oh, yeah. If you definitely, if you've already sent an answer in, you are entitled to send a second one. If some people that won't help, but some people that absolutely will. So yes, WrestleMania 5 and 6. And please do not adjust your set. I have actually gone this color. That's not. It's not a problem with your. Adjust your set. How old am I? Adjust your set rather than just flick on another screen or something. But
I'm just trying to think of who was on at WrestleMania 5.
Funny enough, the Daniel has forgiven me, which is nice of him. He says nobody's perfect unless you're Kurt Hennig, and he's actually spelt Kurt Hennig wrongly, but everyone spells it wrongly.
Yes, this happens with so many people,
including Paul Benson, because Paul puts the quiz up every Friday morning on the site. So you can do a different quiz, by the way, folks. A written quiz which you can do online. You've got 7 minutes to complete the whole thing, and it's up there all week. So you can still do that now. Because the leaderboard lasts all the way through the week. And Paul sends me every Friday morning just to double check it once it's gone live. And that was one tiny thing he'd done, was he put an extra N in it. And I did say, you've spelt that wrong, but nobody's perfect. So there we go. That's that's the way it goes. Will Kitchen says I'm the new R-Truth, so he's blocked. There's time for your answer, even though I have waffled on and given 2 different questions. What's your answer, Dean?
Oh, God. I know it's not right, but I'm going to say Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, and I know it's not right. I don't know.
You've got to give one. You've got to give one answer, because who was it that won the match? I need to.
Oh, sorry, Shawn Michaels. I'll say Shawn Michaels, but I'm pretty sure it's not.
Okay, cool. I've just realised another little link with what I got wrong and Mr. Perfect. Answers to be revealed shortly. Right, let's do the last question, and as I disappear into my shame well. Number 10.
You disappear into your shame well.
I've stolen that, to be fair. That is a reference to the comedian John Robbins, who talks about shame well on his radio show. Number 10, which current WWE roster member has the real name, and I will spell this, folks, because I might pronounce it wrong, Which current WWE roster member has the real name Etory Ewan? And it is spelled E-T-T-O-R-E. That's their first name. E-W-E-N. So there's lots of E's in there. Etory Ewan. Which current WWE roster member has the real name Etory or Etory Ewan? E-T-T-O-R-E. New word. E-W-E-N. Adam is asking if I'm a PCD. And I will respond to him by saying, I'll ask him, are you on email? I love it when you listen to something that's got so many little catchphrases and little things. I imagine if wrestling fans were talking about selling and kayfabe and swerves and all that kind of stuff, other people would go, what the bloody hell are they talking about? Similar things can happen when you listen to the same podcast as other people. And he gives the correct answer. You simply have to be these days. I would highly recommend it, by the way, folks. Ellis James and John Robbins, who had a podcast on XFM and then Radio X, and then now on 5 Live. There's literally about 400 of the back catalogue to listen to. It's got me through a lot of lockdown. There's playing darts and listening to Ellis and John. I'm waffling because I think I sense Dean doesn't know the answer, so I'm giving him some time. I haven't got
a clue.
23 180s in lockdown, by the way. My darts has come on nothing leaps and bounds.
Very, very well done. Etory Ewan. I don't even know if that's male or female. I've got to say Etory. I don't know.
I'll help you and everyone. It's male.
Etory. It sounds no, it's not a Spanish name. It's Austin Theory. I don't know.
That's a good theory.
Yes. I haven't worked out the theme yet.
Do you know what? How brilliant would it be, right, if he left one day and went to AEW and they called him Austin Practical? That would be an excellent change of names, wouldn't it? But we'll see. Right, we'll do this one properly, and we will go through these answers. Okay. That was 10, wasn't it? Yes, we are. God, we're falling apart without Paul Benson. I hate this.
Paul, where are you?
No, that's terrible. The good thing is he probably won't watch this back. Number 6, Bill, tell me he will. Should we get everyone to send him something? Everyone at some point will coordinate. We will all tweet him at the same time, and tweet him something really, really weird. I'll coordinate that later in the show. Right, let's do some answers. Number 6, who won the 1989 Royal Rumble? You said that you thought that Duggan won the first one and that Hogan won 2 in a row. Well, what you did, stupidly, was you were doing 2 consecutive things and you got them a year out. What kind of idiot would do that?
Was I 1 year out?
Oh, shit. That's me, isn't it? You were 1 year out, as Ken Bruce would say on Portmaster. So, Dean Ayass from Down in Sussex, 1 year out. You forgot Big John Studd. BJS, as we're calling him. Big John Studd, the answer to number 6. Who beat Britt Baker at All Out this weekend? Your answer was?
I've just got the theme. Big Swole.
Big Swole. There we go. That is a correct answer. Dean's first correct answer. Who has been tag team champion with Undertaker, Kane, Miz, and Jericho? Your educated guess was Edge.
It'll be the Big Show. It's going to be the Big Show, Rob.
Well, it's Edge. Doesn't quite, does it? It is the Big Show is the answer. So, Big John Studd, Big Show, Big Show. Big Edge, I think, is if he was called Big Edge, I would like to think he would be called Hypotenuse. But that's probably not technically right. Someone will have further maths and tell me that's bollocks. Number 9.
You'll end up with Pythagoras on your face.
Yeah, Pythagoras. That's Austin Theory's other brother. There you go. Who else is doing Pythagorean jokes on a Sunday night? Ancient Greek jokes here on Hooked on Wrestling. Why was Achilles such a bad promoter? Didn't put enough heat on his heels. Ancient Greek jokes on a Sunday night here on the Hooked on Wrestling. Number 9, who wrestled a tag team match at WrestleMania 6, then beat that partner at WrestleMania 7? No, McNichol. 5 and 6.
Big Shawn Michaels.
Big Shawn Michaels. The Big Boss Man is the answer. After my ridiculous year wronging again, it is the Big Boss Man. I really am sorry, everybody. That is literally, because I did research that one. That's not even, sometimes I do it off the top of my head and I get it wrong because I'm lazy. This is because I'm shit at Roman numerals. And I read V1, not Matt Hardy V1, but V1, I read that as 7 because I'm a tool. Okay, so it's Big John Studd, Big Swole, Big Show, Big Boss Man is the answer to number 9. So number 10, which current WWE roster member has the real name Etory Ewan?
I'm trying to think who's big something these days.
I gave a little mini clue when I was reading the question, and I said there's a lot of E's in there.
Big E. Cool.
10 letters in his name, 4 of them are E's. He's not only E, he is 40% E in his name.
And yet he's still past wellness. My God. Honestly, it's useless. It's not worth anything.
Yes. It is Big MDMA himself. No, he's absolutely not, by the way. Can we just point out we are not accusing that gentleman of being in any way in breach of the wellness policy. But the answer is Big E. And I am asking my Big E question when Paul is not here, so he doesn't do his ludicrous Big E is basically the new Bret Hart theory, which is a load of rubbish.
No, it's not. He's talking the truth.
Rubbish.
Wait.
Rubbish. You were on that podcast as well, weren't you? Rubbish. Anyway, let's bring Chris in. Chris, talk so I don't have to.
Incorrect years, ancient Greek jokes. It's quite fitting that it's Nitro week because who booked this shit? But anyway, we're getting there. Right. So bonus points for round 2. Darren Moonday 3, Patrick Heafield 3, Richard Allen 2, Adam Farrand 1, Adam Pearson 1, Chris Marden 1, Will Kitchen 1. That's Darren Moonday 3, Patrick Heafield 3, Richard Allen 2, Adam Farrand 1, Adam Pearson 1, Chris Marden 1, and Will Kitchen 1. So
fantastic stuff.
Cool. And I will say I did scrub bonus points for question 9. Just because
thanks, mate. That's my fault.
Right, you got it right from the wrong information, so I didn't right to give any points for that question.
No, you're right to do so, and that's entirely my fault again. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm amused. I wasn't laughing at you there when I was smiling when you were doing your bonus points. I was reading some of the comments because I, of course, forgot that we've got 2 or 3 new people in the room tonight, and quite rightly, Darren has said, "Who is Paul?" You keep talking about.
You just don't need him anymore. It's fine.
Basically, we've done like about 20 of these quizzes since lockdown started way back in April or May or whenever it was. And Paul has hosted every single one of them. I think I missed the first 2, and then I've done all of them since. But Paul is the regular host of this. It's normally me and him, and with Chris as our ref. Dean is joining us very, very we're very pleased to have him as a guest host tonight. But normally you'd have Paul. And so I'm saying basically I wanted to prove that I'd be good without him, and I'm making an arse of it. So the reason I keep referencing him is because he's not here. But at some point, we're going to get everyone to get his Twitter up, and we're all going to send him a tweet at the same time. We'll do that later.
Basically, Darren, Paul is to Hooked on Wrestling what Vince McMahon is to the WWE, except Paul allows us to have Twitch and things like that.
Yeah, I'm allowed to work for the BBC Radio as opposed to Paul wouldn't let me. He might ban me from commentating on BBC Radio Devon. I don't know.
I think most listeners of Radio Devon would probably write in for that. Yeah,
and they would still write in as well on a postcard. Adam Ferranda said, "Is anyone else seeing this shite Robbie Williams hologram?" No, that's Chris Hatch. There you have got a lookalike now.
Oh, that's definitely a new one.
And then Chris Higgins says "Geek Joke Alert," which doesn't narrow it down to anything we've said in the last hour. And then he goes on to do a fabulous geek joke, which is I forgot how to write 5, 150, 151, and 500 in Roman numerals. I'm livid. That is a brilliant, absolute brilliant joke. And then he goes on to accuse Paul of being in retribution. wonderful stuff. It's the chat is funnier than us tonight. Right.
Thank you, Chris. Cry into my beer, please.
Yeah, no problem at all. Right, the good news for you, Chris, is Dean is doing the next 5, so presumably won't cock up any years, and we'll bring you back very shortly. And then what we'll do when Chris comes back is there's no dress hatch up segment tonight, but we can all between us decide on what we're going to stitch Paul up with online, because there's no way he's listened to this live, so we can do something to freak him out. Thanks, Chris. See you shortly. Oh, I got rid of him before he said goodbye. Even worse of me. I'm a bad editor as well. Right. Okay, Dean, fire away. Question number 11. Remember.
Okay, so this is question number 11. If you have been paying attention to the Hooked on Wrestling website this week, then you'll have a good few clues about this, because this round is all about Monday Nitro. So, question 11 is, in which city did the first ever Monday Nitro come from? So what city hosted the first ever Monday Nitro? Inside a shopping mall as well.
As you said that, as you talked about Nitro, I suddenly realized how well on brand I am tonight, because we're talking about Monday Nitro, and what's on my jersey? SmackDown versus Raw. As folks have still managed to get through every week without repeating the wrestling shirts. I had no idea I had quite this many, but we are that desperate. We are in the back of the bottom drawer now into the freebies from several years ago. So this would have been, we'll come to yours, but this would have been a nice little freebie from 2008, presumably, or maybe late 2007. I don't know when they bring the game out with that year. So I would have gone to SmackDown or something. They would have given me a free T-shirt. So thank you to the WWE's PR team from 2007 for this shirt, which I just about fit in.
Whereas this is the T-shirt from the Dragon Gate UK event from 2013. Blimey. Where, I commentated on that. So we've got, I think, mentioned up. I don't get it right. Mentioned along here. These are the different in Dragon Gate. They have different stables, and World 1 had a fella called Ricochet, who you may have heard of, and there's also listed down there somewhere is Akira Tozawa, and I think either that one or the next one we had Uhaa Nation, who then became Apollo Crews, plus Noam Dar and Mark Haskins and people like that. So yeah.
They were fun. I saw a Dragon Gate. In fact, I'll tell my Dragon Gate story after the next question, because I feel we're dragging Dragon Gate a wee bit.
Okay, so what's your answer for number 11 then, Rob? What city do you think was the first ever Nitro?
Just to clarify, Darren said, do you want the city or the state too? You did say the
city. Cities for, yeah.
From the land of 1,000 lakes, which I believe is Minneapolis.
Okay, Minneapolis is your answer. Right, now number 12, and I'm going to give this is multiple choice. I don't know if we normally do multiple choice, but I'm doing multiple choice. How many singles matches did Bret Hart wrestle on Monday Nitro throughout the history of the program? So just singles matches, no three-ways or tags or anything like that, just one-on-one. Was it 12, 22, or 32? So how many singles matches did Bret Hart wrestle on Monday Nitro throughout the history of the program? 12, 22, or 32?
Do you know what? On our podcast this week, on the How to Be Great podcast, which is mine and Paul's podcast, we discussed who is Mr. Monday Nitro. That was our topic this week. And in aiding us, I had a list of all the wrestlers that wrestled on Nitro and how many matches they had on Nitro. But I have to say, I don't think I went down as far as where Bret was on that list when we were talking about it. So I should theoretically know his total matches. Obviously, you asked for singles, which is different. So I'll have to have a think about that, see if I can try and dredge up from somewhere what that list said. Just to answer a couple of people in the chat, Matt has said he's wearing the Last Ride shirt that he wore before that he won before during the quiz. So well done, nicely on brand from Matt Thorpe. I'll tell you in a couple of questions time what our shirt is for this evening. So don't forget, if you answer all 20 questions, you're in the draw for tonight's random drawing to win a shirt with WWEEuroshop.com. I'll tell you what that who is on that shirt in just a second. And Sarah says, has anyone else received their prizes yet from SummerSlam? Because we gave away plenty of prizes on SummerSlam night. And again, if you've still not seen that, by the way, you can still go back and watch that in our archives. We did a 4-hour spectacular building up to SummerSlam, or most of it to do with SummerSlam 92. About Bret and Bulldog. We had Diana Hart Smith on. We had Harry and Georgia, Diana and Davies' kids, to do a watch along of the main event. We had Martin Goldsmith, who was the promoter. Dean did a fantastic interview with the chairman, or the president, I should say, of the Cauliflower Alley Club, B. Brian Blair, who we were raising money for the Cauliflower Alley Club, and lots of other guests besides. You can still go back and watch that. Sarah, to answer your question about that, I believe some people have and some people haven't got their prizes, but they're from third-party distributors. For tonight's one, for example, we have the shirt and we can send it out. But for SummerSlam, we've passed on names who have got to send it on. So we will give them a little bit of a kick up the behind if they haven't sent them on. But it's not our fault in this situation. But we will chase it up for you. We'll do your Dragon Gate shirt after the next question. Just remind me what that question was.
How many singles matches did Bret Hart wrestle on Nitro? Was it 12, 22, or 32?
My theory on multiple choice questions is you always go one extreme or another.
And so yes, that's a very, very good one.
So it's either more than you think or less than you think. So I'll go 12. I'll go the smaller one, and I'll go 12.
Okay. Question number 13. Which matchup featured on both the first ever and last ever episode of Monday Nitro? Which matchup featured on both the first ever and the last ever episode of Monday Nitro? Again, there have been features about both those episodes on the site this week for Nitro Week.
Interests that Dean and I share: wrestling, football, stand-up comedy, pedantry. Should we have a conversation about whether or not you need to say the word match-up or just match? Probably not. Just tell us about your Dragon Gate shirt.
It's a match. Yeah,
you said match-up.
I did, yeah, but you're right.
Tell us about your shirt.
So yeah, I got this when I commentated on the event, which they did 2 nights in Broxbourne and then 1 night up north in Castleford, I think it was. Yes. And they're promoted by Mark Sloan back in the day. He had roughly once a year or so, he'd do a little tour with the Dragon Gate promotion, and fantastic times they were. And yeah, lots of of talented guys and some British guys getting their first opportunities against overseas opposition. It was good times, fun times. Yeah.
I covered a show. I really wouldn't know what year it was, but I covered a show in Oxford that Dragon Gate did, which I think was on their first tour.
No, I think that was Pro Wrestling Noah. That was
it was definitely. It was down as Oxford. It was in the environs of Oxford anyway.
Yes. No, you're right. The Regal, I think it was.
I was just going to say, I think it was called the Regal because obviously I remember that for certain reasons because of Mr. William Moore Stevens.
Yes, and the Young Bucks were on that one, I think, if memory serves me right. I did that post-production, so I wasn't at the venue for that.
Right. Okay. I'll see if I can find the card at some point, but I'm fairly certain that was the first time I saw Puck wrestle. Puck. Adrian Neville. I think that's the first time I saw him wrestle, and the night that I fell in love with a big Japanese man called Shingo, who I still
Shingo Takagi, yes.
Still to this day do not quite understand why he's not been the biggest star in the world for the last decade.
Yes.
Because old man, like if there was ever like Nakamura went to WWE and other Japanese stars have tried to cross over, and they always talk about the difficulty of Japanese style, American style, British style, whatever it might be. I have never seen anyone like Shingo, who I thought, man alive, he is made for WWE.
I've never seen a bad match, basically, Rob. Never seen the man have a bad match. He is fantastic. Yeah,
he is tremendous. But he's one of those men that could stand still in the middle of a ring, and you just look at him and go, "He's a star."
Yeah,
he just carries himself like a massive legend.
There was a series of 3 matches that they did between Shingo and another guy called Susumu Yokosuka, and they were tremendous matchups, absolutely tremendous. The crowd were on their feet. Yeah, all of them were those matches that just in the Japanese style built up and built up and built up and built up, and yeah, phenomenal stuff, absolutely phenomenal. Do go and try and hunt them down. Dragon Gate UK.
Most definitely. I'll give you my answer. You asked, I believe, which match was on the first and last Nitro. I will say Sting versus Ric Flair.
Okay, and do you know what I've done? In the spirit of pedantry, I have just gone back and deleted the word up, because you're absolutely right. It is what match? Yeah.
Or which match?
Which match? Shut up!
I don't think that matters. No, I don't think that matters. In fact, one of my favorite jokes in any TV show is an episode of Jonathan Creek, where Maddie says to Jonathan, "I am fed up with your pedanticism," and he goes, "The word is pedantry." Carry on. Next question.
Okay, number 14. So again, I believe this may be a clue if you've been listening to the podcast this week. Who wrestled the most matches in the history of Monday Nitro? So that is all matches, singles, tags, 6-man tags, 3-ways, the lot. Who wrestled the most matches in the history of Monday Nitro?
I think I know that. I'm worried that I don't, because we did mention it on our podcast. I get to plug my podcast for an answer rather than your podcast for an answer. But on How to Be Great this week, which Dean has guested on, such as I've guested on his, we did discuss this very thing. So I think that's right. Meanwhile, I have found the card. So it was the 1st of November 2009
right.
at the Regional in Oxford. Here is the card. It was Lion Kid defeating Styx, Real Hazard, which I don't know if that's a brother of Eden Hazard, but it's Genki Horiguchi and Ryo Saito defeated Johnny Storm and Marty Scurll. Mark Haskins against Kagetora, Dragon Kid against Masato Yoshino, Susumu Yokosuka versus Shingo, and World 1, which was BB Hulk, Naruki Doi, and Puck against Shima and the Young Bucks. So that's not a bad lineup, is it?
Not at all.
It was a really great show.
I do remember, I have very fond memories as well of the last tour that we did, where I was traveling around with the Japanese contingent, sort of just making sure that they got from A to B okay. And for some reason, I don't know why, they had this obsession with they wanted to keep visiting supermarkets. So they'd just be wandering around them and buying different things. And one of my favorite memories in wrestling was the look of utter confusion on Shima's face in Tesco when the girl at the checkout asked him if he had a club card.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, that is tremendous. Just while we won't go into shows what Dean and I have been to, because we could be here quite a long time. But I will say that I never thought, I went to a show a few years ago, trying to work out what year it would have been. Would it have been 2016, I think, because the European Championships were at the time. So I think it was 2016. When NXT came to Plymouth. I still can't believe I'm saying.
Yes, of course. I remember that.
NXT came to Plymouth, and the main event was, let me get it in the right order. I remember who was teaming with who. I think I can remember the 4 guys, but it was Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura against Austin Aries and Samoa Joe. Wow. And it's like, and I'm sitting there going, this is Plymouth. There's about 1,200 people. I'm very proud of being from Devon, and I love Plymouth, by the way, so I'm not slagging it really, but just nothing ever comes down here. And it was those four of the, literally, I was sitting there going, these 4 are probably 4 of the best 10 or 15 wrestlers on the entire planet, and they're wrestling in Plymouth right now. How amazing is this? I love, Patrick, I think Patrick looks like he was at that event, because I know Patrick's an Argyle fan, so he was presumably at that show as well.
I'm thinking of when they were in Brighton that same tour, and I remember the main event we had was, I think it was Bobby Roode and Andrade Almas against Drew McIntyre, and I can't remember who the partner was. I know Hatch was there with me, so he might remember. But Yeah, it's great.
I'll tell you what I'll do at this point then, since you've just mentioned him. This week's shirt, folks, it's Drew McIntyre. I believe it says on the shirt Big Daddy Claymore, which I don't know if he's doing a little different act every now and again. Everyone I'm not familiar with, but
glittery cape top hat.
Yeah. How you doing? I'm Big Daddy Claymore, by the way. But that's what the shirt. But it's a Drew McIntyre shirt. It's a really good looking shirt, actually, and that is what the winner of the random draw at the end of the night will win from www.euroshop.com. So it's a Drew McIntyre shirt. Okay, what was the question?
The question was, who wrestled the most matches in the history of Monday Nitro?
I think it was Booker T.
Okay.
Fairly certain it was Booker T.
Right, and now number 15. This is I'm particularly fond of this question because you can either the answer is a number, and you can either rack your brains, or if you don't have a clue, you can just guess a number. Basically, in total, how many British wrestlers wrestled on Monday Nitro?
Wow.
In total, how many British wrestlers wrestled on Monday Nitro?
I am going to give Dean Ayass the biggest compliment I have ever given him. And what I'll say is that, my friend, is a Rob McNichol question.
I did have to double and triple check it with my because WCW co-host Liam Happ, because I was sort of I started off by doing it just off the top of my head, and there's like, oh God, I've forgotten that one, and oh, how can I forget him? And then Liam then mentioned someone to me who was like incredibly obvious. Actually British, Adam. Adam Pearson said actually British or booked as British. So I mean actually British. So for example, Bobby Eaton, Earl Robert Eaton, I can't remember if they billed him as being from Britain. He's from Huntsville, Alabama, as we all know. He's not British. I mean people who were born in Britain.
What a lovely coincidence, though, that he was called Eaton. And that they were able to... How brilliant. I mean, Bobby is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, by the way. One of the most underrated.
Oh, God. Amazing.
I absolutely adore Bobby Eaton. If anyone listens to my podcast, or our podcast, sorry, Paul, will know is that I went big onto Bobby Eaton a few weeks ago when we were doing the greatest tag wrestler ever. But I wonder if that was a total coincidence or whether they just went, he's called Eaton. That's even better than what we can do. Right, so I am not going to sit and work it out. This is the kind of question that I would quite like to have sent me a text one day, and I would have sat and worked it out for an hour and then come back to you. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and work out how many I can think of, and then add a couple. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to assume that I've missed a couple, and I'm going to say 7.
Okay. And Matt Thorpe just saying, speaking of British wrestlers, is it weird that the mystery of Kendo Nagasaki has been revealed finally? Well, yes and no. I think my theory on this is that the reason that he has, those of you who aren't aware, Kendo Nagasaki was a British wrestler in the 70s, 80s, and a little bit of the 90s. He made a comeback, I think, but rarely, if ever, lost, never unmasked, never spoke. Well, he unmasked voluntarily at one point, but never spoke in public. You couldn't do it now. I mean, actually, it's something I could easily write an article for Hooked on Wrestling about. You just couldn't do it now because of the internet. But back in those days, people didn't know anything about him, and then all of a sudden, a couple of years ago, he unmasked and started doing talking tours of the UK. And my reason is he's retired now and he can't make any more money being Kendo Nagasaki under the mask, but he can make money by taking it off, releasing a book and so on. So that's my theory. I think I haven't bought that book yet, but I really should. I'd very much like to read that. So yes.
But I've never met the man personally, but isn't he from Rotherham or Sheffield or somewhere like that? So it's
Stoke-on-Trent.
Oh, Stoke-on-Trent, not quite close. But I've always thought it'd been brilliant if they were to. I thought they should have and I know who I'm mentioning, folks. Don't swear at me for mentioning them. But I've always thought it would have been good on NXT UK if they'd have gone, this man El Ligero is genuinely from Mexico. Isn't that right? And he'd have gone, oh, that's right. I'm definitely from Mexico, because he's from Hull, I believe. I thought it'd been brilliant if he'd have done complete and utter Mexico and called people SA and and Holmes like Eddie Guerrero did, but in a Hull accent. I thought that would have been an absolutely brilliant gimmick. But there we go.
If I may be pedantic, Sheffield. But anyway, let's go through the answers. Let's go through the answers. Monday Nitro round. So number 11, in which city did the first ever broadcast of Monday Nitro come from? It was from the Mall of America, which, as you quite rightly said, Rob, was in Minneapolis. Is the answer.
One quick one on that. I always remember that opening from Eric Bischoff. From the land of 1,000 lakes, there's only one place big enough to host the first episode of Monday Nitro. And then he turns to Mongo and he says, hey, you made it to the big leagues, buddy. And Steve McMichael says one of the strangest things in history. And he says, this place is apropos, and that don't mean we're digging in the dirt with farm implements, baby. And to this day, I have never worked out what that means. To
be fair, most people didn't know what the hell Mongo was on about anyway.
But for it to be the first thing you ever say as actually not first thing he ever said as a commentator, because he did do a couple of guest spots on Raw, but to be the main thing that you start off with, amazing.
Yeah. Adam Pearson, you put Seattle, Seattle is not close. Seattle is on the west coast, well, not west coast, but in Washington State, and Minneapolis is slap bang in the middle of America, basically.
If I just move my screen here, if I can get the map.
And yes, Ligero's from Leeds. Apologies.
He's from Leeds. If I just say that there is Seattle, and there is Minneapolis. Not even close. There we go.
Yes.
Let's move on.
I once got stuck overnight in Minneapolis, but that's another story.
Good night, Minneapolis. We love you. Doesn't really work on Frasier. Anyway, next question.
So the number of singles matches Bret Hart wrestled on Monday Nitro. So it was 12, 22, or 32. You went 12. You thought it was less. And do you know what? If I was answering this question and hadn't researched it, I would have said the same thing, because I didn't think Bret Hart wrestled that many matches on Monday Nitro or in WCW full stop. But the answer is actually 32.
Oh, so I got that. My reasoning was the wrong way around. So actually, I thought people will think it's loads, but it's actually less. And it was the opposite. People will think it's less, but it's actually loads.
It's actually quite a few, yes.
Well done.
The match, not matchup, the match that featured on both the first ever and last ever episode of Monday Nitro was indeed, Rob, Sting versus Ric Flair.
Points.
But the last one was where poor Ric Flair had his confidence and self-esteem shattered by Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff to the point that he wrestled in a T-shirt. The most matches, question 14, the most matches in the history of Monday Nitro. That honour does indeed, another one for Rob, Booker T. Booker T has wrestled 157 matches on Nitro. Lex Luger was second on 150, then Chris Benoit on 132, and Sting and DDP tied on 125.
Good knowledge.
And finally, the number of British-born wrestlers who wrestled on Monday Nitro.
Oh, yeah,
this is through the list.
Yeah, quality. Go on.
Loch Ness.
Oh, I never even thought of him.
Yeah. Now, two people that people may not even remember wrestling there very briefly. I think they only ever had one match on Nitro, but many more on Saturday night were Robbie Brookside and the late, great Doc Dean.
Oh,
Chris Adams.
Oh, Norman,
yeah. Norman Smiley. Yes, he was born in Britain and emigrated to the US later, but he was, as we clarified, British-born. Lord Stephen Regal. The British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. Okay. Dave Taylor. And Finley.
Okay, well, you said the last five you said were the five that I thought of.
So the total is...
I had a couple for 7, but I think it's 8, is it?
It's 9. Funnily enough, Rob, you said you've probably forgotten a couple, and you literally had, because you said 7, and the answer is 9.
Well, I thought of 5, and I added a couple to get 7, and it was actually 9. So there's the there's the works. As
and Matt Thorpe, yes, Loch Ness, better known as Giant Haystacks, but I was going by their WCW names.
I saw Brookside once appear on a Raw/Nitro, but I don't know if it was a Raw/SmackDown, I should say. But I can't remember if he was actually on TV or not. I definitely remember.
Yeah, he's done.
I think he got annihilated by Umaga.
No, that was Andy Simmons.
It was Andy Simmons. You're right. It was Andy Simmons.
He did wrestle someone on I don't know. I think it was Raw. Yeah, where they made up a complete history of him rather than just saying who he actually was. But I
remember him running to the ring, and I was with Simon Rothstein at the time and going, "That's Robbie Brookside." So I know he definitely came out for something.
I'm going to have a look, see if I can find it.
While you're doing that, let's bring Chris in to do some bonuses, and he'll probably bollock us for being way over time. But let's stick him in. Hi, Chris.
I'm not going to bollock you because I've got 2 things to throw in here anyway. So
good, excellent. Tell stories. Let's go all night. It's bloody Benson that holds us back and won't let us do 5-hour shows.
Do you remember the cup recovery time needed for SummerSlam night? We're not doing that again in a hurry.
Wow.
So Brighton tag partner for Drew McIntyre was Aleister Black. And
thank you.
My supermarket wrestler story is being in a supermarket with Keith Lee, and he was looking at the energy drinks and just casually walked over to me and said, "What does Lewis Hamilton taste like?" Which was one of the most random things because at the time Monster had a Lewis Hamilton energy drink, and he had absolutely no clue who Lewis Hamilton was, but did wonder what he tasted like. Anyway, bonus points, and you had
like pit lane fumes today. Is what he tastes like. Carry on.
And by the way, Rob, I just looked it up, and you're quite right. Robbie Brookside lost a match on Monday Night Raw against Mr. McMahon, Shane McMahon, and Umaga in a handicap tag match.
It was the match. Mr. McMahon's the ECW champion sort of era.
Yeah, the match I was thinking of was a match on Sunday Night Heat where he lost to Simon Dean.
I actually think that match that I've just mentioned, the Umaga one, might have been at Earl's Court the night that Shane called out Jose Mourinho.
Oh,
I think that's that show. Anyway, we digress. Carry on, Chris.
Yes, bonus was. I will just very quickly say people are saying they haven't scored very highly. There are questions here where nobody got them right. So this is an intentionally difficult quiz because if everyone just got every question right, we say it every week, there's a reason why it's the level it's at. So
correct.
If you've got low scores, really don't worry about it. But bonus points for this round. Darren Moonday, 3. Chris Marden, 2. Matt Barber, 1. Patrick Heafield, 1. Richard Allen, 1. And Will Kitchen, 1. That's Darren Moonday, 3. Chris Marden, 2. Matt Barber, 1. Patrick Heafield, 1. Richard Allen, 1. And Will Kitchen, 1.
Cool. Magic stuff. Thank you very much.
Right.
I think we said at this point, this is when we'll plot and plan and do our Paul Benson message. So Paul's Twitter, I believe is How Paul B. That's right, isn't it?
I believe so. Let me just double check.
Everyone that's on Twitter, I would like you to open a new Twitter message and put in at HOWPAULB, How Paul B. And what I would like you to do...
Can I correct you quickly? It's at Paul B. How.
Oh, is it?
No, I've got at How Paul B here.
I think it's How Paul B.
Oh, yeah. Well, you go for that then.
Because I tell you how I remember. This is a sad thing to admit, but I remember it because of the Beach Boys. Is it the Beach Boys song? I think we come on the How Paul B, my grandfather and me. I remember it from the song.
Yeah, because Rob, you've tweeted him and he's replied. So it's at How Paul B.
Right, so get a tweet ready for at How Paul B. And what I would like you to all do is tweet Paul your favourite sandwich filling. Because I don't want it just to be a whole bunch of swearing or just everyone saying Adam Bomb. That's boring. But if he's sitting there tonight, I know he's away for the weekend with his lovely wife and son. So they're probably having a nice evening, having a nice glass of red wine. If he suddenly gets 40 tweets all saying like cheese and pickle and things like that, it will confuse it. If everyone just sends a message saying Alex the Pug Porto, he'll just go, Rob's pissing about. But if he starts getting sandwich fillings, it will throw him completely.
So I've just sent him cheese and ham.
So send him nothing else. Don't say context. Don't say you're doing the quiz. Don't hashtag it. Don't say anything about what else is going on. Just send him a message and say @HowPaulB and then your favorite sandwich filling, anything you like. And then we'll see if he responds before the end of the show. Okay, you can keep an eye on that, Chris. There's something else for you to do with admin. You can do the last 5 questions and see if Paul responds.
Yep, I'll keep an eye.
What done? I can see people in the chat. Adam, done. Will, done. Excellent. Well done, everybody. Well done, Team Hal, for stitching up our founder. Right, we'll move Chris away, and I will do the last 5 questions. We are so over time tonight; it's unbelievable, but it's who cares? Right, question number 16. So again, I'll say the same as I did before my first set of 5 for my last set of 5. I sometimes have a little hidden theme, or sometimes it's not so hidden, that I don't tell you about. You saw what happened between questions 6 and 10.
Oh, man.
Now it's time for 16 to 20. What I'll endeavour to do this time is actually get the things right. Question number 16. The World Tag Team titles were active in the WWF/WWE from 1971 and discontinued in 2010. Okay, there's been lots of Raw this, World this, SmackDown this, but there was a set of tag team titles that were active from 71 to 2010. Okay, that was a whole thing in a row. So from that period of around about 40 years or so, which team with 8 had the most separate reigns as champions? So the World Tag Team titles in the WWF/WWE were active from 1971 to 2010. Which team with 8 had the most separate reigns? So as I say, it's very, very confusing to follow the whole history because it's been unified, it's been Raw, it's been SmackDown, they've unified again, they've changed it again, but there was a linear narrative between 71 and 2010 when it was amalgamated and then split apart later on. So that's the 40 years or 39 years or so that we're dealing with. Which team with 8 had the most separate reigns? It's a very wordy way of saying who's held the tag titles the most times. Brilliant. And while Dean is thinking about that, I will go to my Twitter and I have a message.
I've just seen the comment from
has sent to Matt Barber of this parish. Matt in the chat says I sent him cheese and coleslaw, and so Paul has responded saying that's sick. I assume that @Rob McNichol has asked you to send me jacket potato toppings.
Oh, he's close, but no
right.
cigar.
So I want you to continue until he gets it right. So, and I'm going to swear. I don't often swear in this chat, but Adam says, and I quote, "Rob is fucking with me, isn't he?"
And while most of us are like doing something with like cheese and ham, cheese and pickle, we've got Sarah Golding upping the class here. She's gone salmon and cucumber. Do you have the crusts cut off, Sarah? Blimey.
Brilliant.
We've gone classy here on the quiz.
Excellent stuff. Oh dear, oh dear. Do you want to give us an answer? Who's held the tag titles the most times? I'm
thinking it's either the Hardy Boys or the Dudley Boys.
Sorry, I'm reading this. It's brilliant. Oh, because it's worked perfectly. Because Adam sent him turkey, Matt cheese and coleslaw. Adam Pearson has sent Swedish meatballs. And Paul responded to all of them. And now he's put sandwich fillings ? Peanut butter and jam. Well done, everybody. Wonderful stuff.
Oh, Sarah doesn't have the crusts either. There you go. So yeah, it's either going to be the Dudley Boys or the Hardy Boys. I think the Dudleys, until New Day, the Dudleys were like the most decorated tag team in history. So I'll go Dudleys.
Okay. So Dean's answer is the Dudley Boys with a Z, I presume.
Yes.
Question number 17. Who, along with Curryman and Super Eric, completed TNA's Prince Justice Brotherhood? Who, along with Curryman and Super Eric, completed TNA's Prince Justice Brotherhood? In a separate private message, Paul has sent me something saying I've been waiting for this. I thought it would have been ruder. So he obviously thought I was going to get you all to tell him to do one, in other terms. But well done, everyone.
So say that question again. I'm trying to think.
And the question again. Sure, there was a group in TNA that was called the Prince Justice Brotherhood, which I think was a bit of a takeoff of the Justice League thing. One of them, there was 3 people in it. One was Curryman. One was Super Eric, which was the sort of superhero gimmick of Eric Young, who was the third person. So it's fair to say it was very much a gimmick wrestler. I think that's a fair thing to say without giving too much away. It's the sound of people thinking, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, at the end of this 20, don't run away, because we'll do our little draw to see who wins the shirt for tonight. It'll be someone that's answered all 20 questions. But as I say, in terms of competing for the quiz, we will ask who got the rights, who got the scores, and we'll find out who won. But that is all for fun. Like Chris said during the last little break, it is hard. It's deliberately hard, this quiz. And even when we've got Dean on board this week, we said, don't have to soft soak it. Make some of them okay. Make some of them difficult. We want people thinking. We want you trying stuff out. We want you having a good night while having a bit of a think about it. But let's face it, if we did it dead easy, it'd be boring. And if we did it so that there were prizes for whoever won, you'd get the same sort of faces winning. So that's why we open it up. It's all about fun here on the Hooked on Wrestling. Our little tagline is, it's wrestling, enjoy it. And we hope you are enjoying your Sunday. What's your answer to the next question, Dean?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I knew this era of TNA at all, but I do know someone who teamed up with, at least with Christopher Daniels around that time, was Elix Skipper. So I'll guess that, but I don't think it's right.
Okay, he's gone for Elix Skipper. Okay, let's get the questions up. Next one, what are we on, number 18? Funny enough, someone that we've, or reference to someone that we've not long ago been talking about. If Bobby was beautiful and Stan was sweet, what was Dennis? If Bobby was beautiful and Stan was sweet, what was Dennis? And what I'll do is I'll give everyone a few more seconds, so those that want to dive in with their answers can do so on the bonus front. And for everyone else to make it a little bit more straightforward, I will reword that question in about 20 seconds time, just to make it a little bit more accessible. But it's only fair that people that can know it quite quickly can dive in. Is it me, folks, or is the more he thinks, Dean's quiff has got bigger? I don't know if it's his headset, or whether he's just channels the honky tonk man the longer the evening goes on. But I thought the quiff was definitely exaggerating itself during that point. And now he's doing the Peter Kay.
Oh God, I'm trying to think. I can't remember what it's Dennis Condrey. Dennis Condrey. And
So basically, folks, it's in the Midnight Express. The sort of second or third, really technically, incarnation of the Midnight Express was Sweet Stan Lane and Beautiful Bobby Eaton. But the one before that was Beautiful Bobby Eaton and something Dennis Condrey. So it's basically, the question is essentially, what was Dennis Condrey's little nickname when he was in the Midnight Express?
And the one before that was Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose.
It was. I don't know. I can't remember what Randy Rose is. He might even have been Ravishing Randy Rose, was he?
I don't know. It was big before my time.
Yeah.
And then you had the
original.
Yeah, the Midnight Express against the original. Yeah, you had the Midnight Express managed by Jim Cornette feuding with the original Midnight Express of Condrey and Rose, who were managed by Paulie Dangerously.
That's correct. That was one of my proudest moments on our podcast, was when we had our question was, what was the best combo of wrestler, non-wrestler? So things like Miss Elizabeth and Randy Savage and Paul Bearer and The Undertaker. And the winners of the poll were the Midnight Express and Jim Cornette, which I heartily approved of. Okay. You want to give us an answer?
I can't think so. I'm going to stick with the alliterations, and I'm going to say Dirty Dennis Condrey.
Okay, let's go on with the next one. Number 19. So this time we're talking about the WWE title, or the lineage of that title. So it's the one that Drew holds now, and it's basically the title that goes all the way back through the history of that company. So that's one of the titles we're talking about. The other one is the one that is designated as the NWA World's title. That's had various incarnations, but very specifically on the wording, there's the WWE World title, and there is the NWA World title. Both of those belts have only ever been held by 3 people. That is to say, only 3 people have ever held the WWE title and the NWA World's title at various different points. One of them is AJ Styles. The other 2 share a nickname. What is it? So I'll say that again because there's a lot going on there. Basically, only 3 people ever have been NWA champion and WWE champion. There's different lineages. It gets recognized different ways, but this is a specific way of looking at it. Only 3 people have ever held both of those belts. One of them is AJ Styles. The other 2 share a nickname. I want you to give me that nickname. What do you think, folks? Look at Dean's. He's a thinker, isn't he?
It's clicked. It's clicked. I didn't know. That clue gave me the answer, and I didn't know that one of them had held both. But
you think you've got it? We'll give it a moment. Or there's other people suggesting that Paul is responding. So Dean thinks he knows. So we'll Phil, funny enough, with Paul Benson responding to sandwich fillings. It's sandwich filling night here on Hooked on Wrestling Sunday night quiz. What else has he said to people? Mark Donald Chuck has said to him chicken mayo, and Paul has said good call, bit of pesto in there. Oh, Chris has joined in as well. Chris Hatch has said ham and mustard. Paul says that's the best flavour of McCoy's. So it's good to see that he is keeping up. Matt Thorpe has said I did the wrestlers though instead of the nickname. It might discount you as far as the bonus goes, Matt, but I was to say if you follow up with the nickname, I think we'd probably be friendly. Do you know what I mean? If you send in your answer as what you think the nickname is as well, now we'd probably give you the point because it's not like you're giving a second answer. You're just thinking about it in a different way. I think Dean knows this.
Yes, I am confident. So has everyone given their answers in? Yeah.
I think, let's go.
When you asked the question before you gave that clue, I thought Ric Flair. And then when you said about 2 people both having the same nickname, it's got to be the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, and Buddy Rogers.
Okay, that's Dean's workings out. That's 19, Sarah. We're nearly finished. Don't worry about it. For anyone that's new, we don't normally go this late. It's basically I'm far more ill-disciplined than Paul is, probably because Paul has a family. He has a wife and son that he has to actually do things with and then say hello to, whereas I don't. I can just get on with my life.
And a cat.
And he has a cat, yes. Well, yeah, we've not even seen Dizzy this week. We can't even do the Dizzy Benson appearance that we normally do. But I've just noticed I've just taken the piss out of your hair doing a little flippy thing. I am essentially now Gabrielle. Mine over here, so it's making life difficult for myself. So yes, that was 19, and here is number 20. Number 20, which group sang "America the Beautiful" at Wrestlemania 15? God, I hope I'm in the right year there. Which group sang "America the Beautiful" at WrestleMania 15? And once again, I would suggest that if you have pieced together there's a little theme going on through these answers, then that may well help you. I know you've had to guess at a couple, and you think you know a couple.
The penny has dropped. The penny has dropped. I'm not going to give my. Yeah.
I've just seen that Sarah has said that she missed one question off. She's out of running for the T-shirt. No, you're not, Sarah. You're not. We wouldn't punish you for just simply missing one out of. When we say you've got to be in for all 20, it's to stop people answering question 1, buggering off for an hour, coming back and answering number 20 and being in the running. You're joining us all the time. You're going through it all. It's cool. Don't worry about it. You will be in the running. We are on question 20, Chris. Same goes for anyone really. If you're properly applying yourself to us and you're joining in, we're not that nasty that if you only do 19 out of 20, we'll leave you off. It's really just to say that it's for joining in all night as opposed to completely dipping in and out, or indeed just giving throwaway answers throughout. But yes, number 20. You think you've got it? I'd be interested to see what you go for here, because I think at least one penny has dropped into the Ayass brain. What are we going for?
Boys to Men.
You said that with disdain. You're not a fan?
Not particularly.
You're not a fan of their seminal 1992 number 1, End of the Road?
Weren't they the ones that wore like suits, but the trousers were like cut off at the knees or something?
No, that was Deacon Batista.
Oh. I've got all his albums.
Do you know what? He'd actually probably turn out to be a dead good singer, because he was a shit wrestler and became a good one, and then he was a shit actor and has become a good one. He'd probably turned out to be a reasonable singer. Right. Okay. Let's do these answers, shall we? Let's rattle through these. Then Chris can come on and give us our bonuses, and we can give away a shirt. Question number 16. The World Tag Team titles were active in the WWF and WWE from 71 to 2010. Who with 8 had the most separate reigns? I think you said the Dudleys, didn't you?
I was tossing up between the Dudleys and the Hardys, and actually both of them fit in the pattern, don't they? But I'm gonna say Dudleys.
The Dudleys was what you said, and it is correct. The Dudley Boys, 8 separate reigns is the answer to question 16. Who, along with Curryman and Super Eric, completed TNA's Prince Justice Brotherhood? What did you say at the time? I forget what you said.
I said Edict Skipper, but now I've worked the theme out. I would say, can I change my answer to Shark Boy?
Oh, that's an interesting switch. Elliot Skipper was he in Triple X?
Yes.
Yeah, Triple X with Chris Daniels at one point, and Chris Daniels been under the Curryman mask, so that might have been where you were going there. But yes, the answer is Shark Boy. So those of you that are catching on, Dudley Boys, Shark Boy. If Bobby was beautiful and Stan was sweet, what was Dennis?
I've just twigged Pretty Boy.
No, not quite.
Oh.
Lover Boy.
Ah.
Lover Boy Dennis Condrey.
Not if you took my 2 answers, he'd have been Dirty Boy Dennis Condrey. They've been told off.
There was, do you remember, what was the plumber called? What was the wrestling plumber?
Tony Anthony, Dirty White Boy.
Tony Anthony, yeah, T.L. Hopper was what I was getting at, but yeah, T.L. Hopper. He was Dirty White Boy, wasn't he, in the Indies? So I could have done that route. So yes, the answer to number 18 is Loverboy. It was Loverboy Dennis Condrey. Number 19, there's only been 3 people to have held the WWE title and the NWA World Championship. One of them is AJ Styles, because it was the NWA title when he first won it in TNA. And the other 2 people, Dean was correct in saying that they are Ric Flair and Buddy Rogers. I was asking for what they share as a nickname, and the nickname is Nature Boy. So far we've had Dudley Boys, Shark Boy, Lover Boy, Nature Boy, and the group that sang America the Beautiful at WrestleMania 15. Paul, what did I call you? That's my previous lover. Paul. Dean said...
Boys to Men.
Oh, isn't it horrible when you say your ex's name in bed? Dean said Boys to Men, and he is correct. So 2 of them spelling it with a Z, Dudley and 2 Men. But boys, Dudley Boy, Shark Boy, Lover Boy, Nature Boy, Boys 2 Men. The first 5 of mine were about big. The second 5 of mine were about boys. And on WCW Nitro is where the big boys play. Question 21. In the sentence, where do big boys play, which one is the adjective? And if you're Kevin Nash, you get extra points. Right, let's bring Chris. We are in the right place now, aren't we? Let's bring Chris in to do some bonuses. Fire away, my friend.
Okay, I'll get on with this. So, Darren Moonday 4, Adam Pearson 2, Patrick Heafield 2, Richard Allen 2, Will Kitchen 2, Adam Ferrand 1, Chris Marden 1, and Matt Barber 1. That's Darren Moonday 4, Adam Pearson 2, Patrick Heafield 2, Richard Allen 2, Will Kitchen 2, Adam Ferrand 1, Chris Marden 1, and Matt Barber 1.
So, everyone that's in the chat, we'd love to hear what your total scores are. There's a few coming in already.
There are some I've added a few up. There are some very interesting scores.
Okay, cool. I'm not one to necessarily start shouting out the scores, but if they're in the room, if you're happy to share, then that is cool. Like I say, folks, if you've struggled, if you've got a low score, honestly, don't worry. First and foremost, we hope you've had a bit of fun over the last hour and 3/4. That's the main thing, right? Secondly, it's not normally as long as this. We're normally done by about 9:30. Paul is a disciplined one, not me. Thirdly, you'll probably start scoring more as the weeks go on, because sometimes you need to catch on to the flow of how it works and how to send them in and the kind of themes that we do and that sort of stuff. The main thing is that you enjoyed it. We would much rather you said you had a good fun night but you were crap at the quiz than say it was a great quiz but it was a bit boring. So that's what we would prefer. Please share the word, spread it out there. We're here every Sunday night at 8 o'clock, or 5 to 8 is when we start the broadcast. And so we'd love it if you were to come back. If you're new this week, to come back. If you are one of our regulars that are here every week, thank you so much for supporting us, because we really, really do appreciate it. So some scores coming through. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, I said I won't single out too many people, but I will say that Patrick, who is a very frequent winner, said he's got 26, including bonuses. Chris Marden, who is another very, very strong performer a lot of the time, says 22. Darren, who I believe is a newbie, first night tonight, says he's got 29.
And
so it
he
might
needs
be
a win.
that we have a debutant winner. What do you reckon, Chris? Does that tally up with you?
That matches up with what I had.
Fantastic stuff. So, well done to Darren. The bad news is, Darren, you don't actually win anything for winning the quiz. It is purely kudos. But it will be interesting. Patrick has been a bit dominant in recent weeks. When he's been here, he's tended to do very well. So we'll keep an eye on that one. That might be a fun little piece of rivalry. A bit like I mentioned the Ryder Cup earlier on. All played for pride as opposed to prize money. But we'll keep an eye on for that. Again,
I'm looking forward to next week, the big rematch, Darren v Patrick.
Yeah, absolutely. And Adam says that Adam Pearson says, I got none of the new guys' questions right. I miss Paul.
Oh, sorry, Adam.
I'll put your name up just so he knows who you are. He's Dean. And secondly, I want to say thank you to Adam for being here, because Adam's a big supporter of ours over the last few weeks, always tweets about us and tries to spread the word. And I might get this wrong, but he started the day on the BBC today. He was a guest on a BBC television show today, live on a Sunday morning, and he's ended it with Hooked on Wrestling. So correct me if I'm wrong on that one, Adam, but thank you so much for spreading the word and for being part of it, because we really do appreciate it. We appreciate all of you. Chris, we need to do a winner for the T-shirt. Have you done a random draw? Do you need us to do something?
I have already done a random draw, so the Drew McIntyre T-shirt goes to Adam Ferrand.
Oh, excellent. Adam's been with us for quite some time, so well done to Adam Ferrand. He's won the Drew McIntyre shirt from www.euroshop.com. Chris, will you get in touch with him privately, or does he need to send you a message?
If he can just drop a message into the Hooked on Wrestling Facebook group, just so we've got it there, but I've got it all written down anyway.
Cool.
Drop a message revealing your favourite jacket potato filling as well.
Yeah. Thank you also for supporting my wind Benson up of a Sunday when he's not here procedure. So yes, Adam Ferrand, if you could just send us a little message confirming that you've acknowledged that you've won, and we'll make sure that gets sent out to you. Been a bit of a marathon effort tonight, which won't surprise anyone that knows what happens when Dean and I get together on podcasts. But thank you, Dean, for being our guest. I'm sure we'll see him again on these quizzes when Paul doesn't want to dignify you all with his presence and decides his family is more important.
It's been a pleasure, and when the tax man finally catches up with Rob and puts him in prison, I will be happy to stand in again.
Fantastic.
Oh, come on. I could have come up with some plenty worse fictitious crimes than tax evasion, Rob. I'm aware that this is a family viewing kind of thing.
Yeah, you could have done, actually. And actually, I have dressed up as a tax man, namely Mr. Shyster, at a previous Royal Rumble event.
And I dressed up as Ted DiBiase.
Yes, indeed. And I should say a genuine thank you to Paul. Paul is having a little break this weekend, and he was going to try and find a way of doing this quiz tonight while away for the weekend. And I did say, look, mate, enjoy your weekend. Talk about someone that earns it. He's an incredibly hard worker, Mr. B, as much as I might like to take the mick. He puts a great deal in. Please check out hookedonwrestling.co.uk. If you've come to us via the social media and not via the website, that's where we live, hookedonwrestling.co.uk. All of us have got an input in various different ways, whether it's podcasts, admin, columns, news, all sorts of different things. We've just finished Nitro week. That's why we had a WCW theme tonight. So lots of fun stuff about Nitro. I won't say we're back to normal as of tomorrow, because normal service was always there. It's not like it has to be resumed. It was always there, as Chris will attest, having to stay up late into the night last night, keeping an eye on what was going on AEW. That's why he's flagging a bit, folks, but he's a trooper. So thank you to Dean. Thank you to Chris, as always, for everything he does. Thank you to everyone that's joined us. We'll be back next week, 8 p.m. or 5 to 8 anyway, with a brand new quiz, a brand new prize, and 20 brand new questions. See you all then. And remember, it's wrestling. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Bye.